What's up, guys? Welcome to the goddamn Evil Broomstick channel. Sorry, I'm not looking at you. I'm pulling something up on IMDb right now. I just filmed a video for what's probably one of my favorite shows of all time now. I just finished it, Death Note. This is going to be a much more negative video talking about the Death Note movie by Adam Wingard. Now, Adam Wingard has made two movies that I really liked. But he also made my least favorite movie of all time, and that is Blair Witch. The Blair Witch Project is one of my favorite movies of all time. Its 2016 sequel, Blair Witch, is my least favorite movie of all time. I think it's absolutely terrible. 1 year later, Adam Wingard does Death Note, and this, once again, he now has two in there. Two movies that are probably in my Mount Rushmore of least favorite movies of all time. The Death Note movie isn't a terrible movie. It's not an awfully bad movie. It is if you've seen the show, I believe. If you haven't seen the show, looking at it, I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's just a bad movie. Having seen the show, it makes me hate it that much more because I think they just did everything wrong. I think, first of all, I get that they changed the characters to be more American and take place in America because it's an American adaptation of a Japanese TV show or of the manga. That was made in Japan, so it's Japanese, it's like Yagami. This one is made in America, so it's like Turner, and it's Chief Turner, the dad. L is still L, except this time around he looks significantly different. He's played by Lakeith Stanfield, who I think he was the best part of the movie. I think he was the only part of the movie that, for the most part, still rung true to the original character. L still had a lot of the same mannerisms and characteristics of L in the show, and in a way the same beliefs, except towards the end. That's where he kind of goes off the rails, because L never really lost his cool. He always kept restrained and subtle, and the L in this movie screams a lot and yells a lot and throws a lot of fits and temper tantrums, and I didn't think that was very L-like. Light is sort of a prisoner. He's sort of being held at hostage by Ryuk and by his very own girlfriend, who instead of this time around, instead of it being Misa, it is Mia. Ryuk does look awesome in this show. It is pretty cool. He looks awesome when he's in the dark. Up close, his face looks a little fucked up. But, I mean, the voice work from Willem Dafoe is fantastic, and I think he looks great. I hated, though, in the movie, the role that Ryuk played, because I love in the show that Ryuk is just, he was in the Shinigami world, bored out of his mind. He dropped his death note to the human world, hoping a human would pick it up and entertain him, and that's what Light did for him. He strongly entertained Ryuk. All Ryuk wanted was just to hang out and eat apples, and he had no really care for Light or what Light was doing. The Ryuk in this show has Light's beliefs of cleansing the world. Why would Ryuk care about cleansing the human world? He's in the Shinigami place. It's essentially divide, the strong from the weak. Like, Ryuk doesn't have those beliefs, and I don't like Ryuk having those beliefs. I don't like that twist. I don't like Ryuk making moves on his own, killing people on his own, doing things with the Death Note on his own, and being against Light, and I don't like them being combatants. I like that Ryuk and Light were essentially a team for the entire show. In this case, they're like combatants fighting each other over what to do with the Death Note, and then you introduce Misa, who was always in love with Light and did anything she asked, and this time around, she basically controls him and does the opposite of everything he asked, and is kind of a bully towards him, and a terrible girlfriend. And they sort of just flipped the premise of everything. Everything you saw in the show, Adam Wingard's like, okay, well, I'm going to make it my own by completely flipping it. This time around, instead of Light being, an evil genius, he's a scared little weakling idiot kid who tells Mia about the Death Note like the day after getting it just to impress her. L is not restrained and contained. He is a loose cannonball. Watari is dead. Yagami, or Chief Turner, I guess, Light's dad in this movie, is very forgettable and has no character. So this show flipped the premise in a lot of ways, and I think in a way, in all the worst ways. At the end of the day, I mean, it's hard to make a Death Note movie that delivers when you think, like, you watch Death Note, each episode's 20 minutes long, there's 37 episodes, who knows how many hours that, I'm sure you could do the math, but I'm not going to. This movie's an hour, 41 minutes. So they were going to brush over a lot of stuff, rush a lot of stuff. But even if you haven't seen the show, I think you'll have a better understanding of this movie if you have seen the show. If you haven't seen the show, I think this movie is going to be very confusing to you. And sort of the way he becomes Kira, it all just seems so rushed. It reminds me of the Avatar Last Airbender movie, another one of my least favorite movies of all time, that tried to take an entire season of great TV and pack it into a 2-hour movie, and it just didn't work. They go from place to place to place, to thing, and there's just like, it works better if you've seen the show, and then you could just be like, oh, I remember that. Oh, I remember that from the show. Oh, I remember that from the show. Except Death Note, lesser so, because this one is just so different from the movie. So when the final reveal comes that he had planned all this along, and the Ferris wheel falling and all that, and he's, this was all part of his plan, I just didn't care. To me, nothing could change the fact that he's a stupid little twerp. When I was watching that finale of the giant Ferris wheel coming down and exploding, I was thinking about how the finale of the Death Note TV show, spoilers for the Death Note TV show, takes place with a few characters in a warehouse having a conversation. In an empty warehouse having a conversation. You look at that, and then you look at this. Adam Wingard, I don't like his movies. What else did I want to start watching? Oh, I want to show my girlfriend Legend of Korra. She's never seen Legend of Korra, and I was thinking about starting Better Call Saul. Should I start Better Call Saul or Ozark? Let me know. Bye.